All right, should get the timing down correctly at some point here. Looks like we are live. How's it going, everybody? It is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. Just a 5-game slate to talk about for today. We will review yesterday as well. As you hear us playing in the background here, I forget to mute us. We'll talk about yesterday. We'll talk about free stuff. I'm joined by Nolan Kelly for the first time in what seems like forever, man. How you been?
Long time. What's going on? Are you been banking or what?
Had a couple nice days here and there. I don't remember since the last time we talked, but yeah, I got crushed for the most part last week, and then yeah, I had a successful showdown NFL Sunday, so made it back there. But what about you? You were at FSGA, right? So you couldn't play.
Yeah, no plan for me. So it was like a week of not being in the swing of things. So just getting back and finding out. Let's see, like the Florida Panthers are hot, and Jonathan Toews has become like 2011 Jonathan Toews again. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so we'll talk about Tays and a bunch of other players tonight. If you guys are new, it's a nice 5-gamer to get into it. We've got a classic Boston 1 chalk slate, some really soft pricing over on DraftKings, and then of course some other places to play as well. We've got FanDuel, and then the sponsor of the show is Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Got the NBA contest pulled up. They're running like a 2-day 12-gamer for today. They don't have single game, but they do have this. If you're itching to play some NBA, there's just one game tonight. And then for NHL, these contests are filling very soon. I was surprised they didn't make them a little bit bigger, but hopefully this is a sign of things to come. And I think we're going to get some decent-sized NHL contests on Yahoo during the NBA All-Star break. So pretty pumped about that. When you sign up over on Yahoo, use promo code OSMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. That is up to $30 in free cash to play DFS over there. So no reason not to take advantage. It helps us. It helps you. And free stuff for today. Live blog. This is a great way to stay up on your NHL news if you don't sit around your computer all day like we do. Or you've got a real job and stuff like that. This is a great way to get all of your NHL news in one spot, and then some analysis as well to go along with it. So you kind of know what the news is, and here's how we are reacting to it. Some days it'll just be, okay, this guy's out. That doesn't really change much. Other times there's potential late swap opportunities or some line changes that we might be anticipating prior to lock. So very useful tool. NHL player rankings are also free today. So if this is your first time playing NHL, this is a really great place to start. A lot of our premium subscribers like this as well. So there you go. You get to try those out for free. And I think that's all we've got on the NHL side for free stuff, except for our Twitter giveaway we've got going on. I posted the link in chat prior to us coming on here, but I'll post it once again. All you have to do is guess the player who scores the most fantasy points on tonight's slate. You retweet, like, and reply to that post on either the Osmo_com Twitter or the Osmo NHL Twitter. Got to follow both of those accounts. Super easy, very self-explanatory with this graphic. You can see all the guesses below. 5 games, so there's going to be some concentrated guesses. I've seen some players already be guessed multiple times, so maybe you want to go in a different direction than the Pasternaks and the Panarins and guys like that, and don't leave it up to chance. You don't want to tie with anyone in this, just like in DFS. So we will talk about who our top scorers are going to be at the end. We haven't done the 1% hat tricks since the last time you've been on, I don't think so.
Have we hit one yet?
I don't think we have hit one yet. You got a multi-point game, I'm pretty sure. You got a multi-goal game out of someone.
Got you ready, I think.
Yeah. So we've been close, but we haven't quite done it. We haven't been getting in a consistent flow of shows lately with how bad the NHL scheduling has been. And lastly, before we get started with lineup study, if you guys could hit the like button, that really does help us out a lot here on all the other shows. But that helps us with the YouTube algorithms and makes us look good for the bosses, which is always nice. Let's look at last night. Just a 2-game slate. It was like an all-day deal, and it was over by time the second period was over in the Colorado game, but let's look at what took it down. Over on DK, it was McKinnon, Nieto, Makar, Francouz, and then Larkin one off. So played one player against his goalie. I did that, or at least I allowed for that as well in Fantasy Cruncher. Keith Yandel one off, Cunnin, Parisi, and Spurgeon in the utility spot. So 3 defensemen allowed a skater against his goalie, or maybe this was a handboat lineup. I'm not sure, but yeah, got it to go for home game donk. Took down 5K. Did you play yesterday?
I did not.
Yeah, you didn't miss out on too much, to be honest.
It's a weird schedule.
Yeah, so I cashed 20 out of I maxed the $10. I cashed only 20 out of my 70. I think I had some success in the $33, so I ended up doing okay for the day. I think I won about $200, but always nice to not get crushed on those 2-game slates.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to the slate. Let's talk about the games here, man.
Let's do it.
Vegas and Boston, we've got a 2.8 implied total for the Golden Knights. 3.2 for the Bruins. Marc-Andre Fleury and Yaroslav Halak are your goalies. Do we notice any changes right off the bat?
Yeah, so just that David Krejci's a game time decision here. So I think that if, unfortunately, like he's listed as in, so I don't think you're going to get that huge ownership reduction if he does go. Pretty decent matchup tonight, but I guess actually maybe you'll disagree with that. I don't know. But I think if he doesn't go, Charlie Coyle would end up centering that second line. That's probably the most likely scenario. Charlie McAvoy just chalking it up tonight, about 15% ownership projection. So that's going to be a fade for me. No morning skate for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. I'm expecting the line change. The lines will be the same, but we will find out before the game starts.
Yeah, so we do have ownership projections as well. If you guys are thinking about joining, promo code Hit the Ice is how you get 50% off your first week of any Osmo Plus weekly pass. Our ownership projections suggest that Boston's top line is going to be popular. I'm not sure that it's necessarily a matchup thing. Like, it's more of a bet on talent and price thing.
Yeah.
It's so Boston won. There's not necessarily a bad matchup for them. Like, they're one of the best lines in hockey, and it's not like you have to avoid them here. 3.2 implied total, but if you look, I think I'm looking a little bit deeper into the matchup. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but they're going to be going up against at least one elite line in the Stastny line for Vegas. One that doesn't really allow a ton of chances. They're really good offensively. And then the Stevenson-Marchessault Smith line in a short sample has been pretty good. So it's not like they've dropped off in a huge way without Carlson on that other line. So that's going to be the lines they spend the most time against. I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to come in a little bit over-owned. So I'm playing on being pretty under the field on Boston 1. I think the ownership is just a little bit too much, and there are other spots. Like, yeah, it's only a 5-game slate, but there are other spots that I think are very good when you factor in the price and the ownership discount you're getting elsewhere. Plus, there's a finite number of lines you can fit with them if you're looking to double stack. So, a few problems with Boston 1. Nothing really has to do with Boston 1. It's more of a 5-on-5 matchup thing, and yeah, that's really
and
about
the price point
ownership.
What do you like? What are your favorite stacks tonight with them? Like, I'm looking. There's not like a ton of low-owned cheap lines that I like tonight.
Right.
So I don't know, like even like the Carolina 3s and 4s. I don't know. Like, Carolina 4 is actually kind of interesting to me at very little ownership with Williams on that line, and then I think maybe Islanders 4, and that's about it. Like, it's not great in terms of, like, if you want to get a line that's not going to have any ownership. There are some that are in like that 3 to 5 range that aren't bad, but
right. So I don't even know. Like, you can fit a lot of lines. Like, if you play Boston 1 and you jam in like a Rangers 2 or Rangers 1 even, you can make it work pretty easily with decent defensemen. But I just think that those lineups are so likely to be duped that I'm just kind of getting away from those and hoping those aren't the nut combinations. So
and just keep McAvoy out of them. I think that's going to be pretty popular. It's going to be like McAvoy's going to be, I don't know. Do you think he's going to be thrown into a lot of Boston 1 lineups? I
I
know
think,
that's not power play correlation, but he's so cheap.
yeah, I think it'll be, decently popular just because of the price point, and some people probably know he's going to skate a lot with Boston 1. So yeah, he's probably a little bit overowned as well. I'm going to try to get Krug in there where I can. But yeah, it's just all these. So I sort by duplication chance based on the number of entries in the tournament that I'm playing, like talking about the large field tournaments. And my top 7 lineups right now that are likely to be duped are all Boston 1 lineups. So they're just really hard to play and make quality, like unique lineups with based on the way that I'm trying to play tonight.
And Krug getting a ton of ownership too, right?
Yeah. So I
just
don't.
One.
Yeah, I just don't know how big of an edge there is in like hammering 50% Boston 1 tonight. Like maybe if you're running 2 uniques or something like that, and you want to do
as well. Like I'm not sure if I missed this, but like it's not. You think they'll go up against Vegas 1 there? Like that's not a great 5-on-5 matchup, right?
Right, exactly. So the Stastny line or the Stevenson, Marchessault Smith line, I think those are going to be both really competent lines at 5-on-5. And it's not like Boston 1 can't overcome it. Like they could easily make me look really stupid, like 10 minutes into the slate starting. Vegas has been taking more penalties this season as well, so it's not like they can't get there. I just don't think that the lineups as wholes look great to me when I'm trying to play a lot of Boston 1.
Yeah, totally.
On the other side, I'm going more with the Stastny line. I don't really have a ton of interest in playing a lot of either Vegas 1 or Vegas 2. So this one I'm hoping it stays pretty quiet and some of the other 6 total games go off. So you got anything else in this game you want to talk about?
Just like, do you think Krejci comes in, like Boston 2 comes in low ownership? I think that's a nice pivot. Like if he ends up not playing, pop in some Boston 2 at no ownership. I think that's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, I mean, any line on a 5-game slate that's not going to get a lot of ownership, sure, especially when they're cheap. DeBrusk and Bjork he's expected to skate with those guys. If he's out, I think maybe Coyle would slot up there, so you might just get a totally unique combo. But yeah, we should know this for anyone that's new. We should know this at about 6:30 Eastern whether or not Krejci's in, and then a few minutes later we should know who's expected to skate with who once the game actually starts. Defenseman, or did you like any Vegas line?
No, I'm not super sold on them, but like I think that's more of an ownership thing. It looks like you're getting some pretty low ownership on some pretty good lines here. The Stastny, I'm just looking at the Stastny line. I mean, it's not great, right? Like it's not like it's getting you're probably better off going to Vegas 2 at like no ownership, but other than that, I'm not super excited about Vegas here.
Right. It's just like they're getting ownership because they're also cheap. So it's going to look like you're just going to play 6 quality forwards probably if you play Vegas 1. But when you look at the matchup, and they're probably going to see as much time as the Stevenson line is against Boston 1. So I don't think it's that good of a matchup on either side, especially when we're talking about even strength stuff. So yes, power plays could completely blow the game up, and I think that'd be more likely to happen for Boston's side here and just completely wreck the slate. But yeah, it's just I don't see a lot of I think ownership is pretty efficient on the Vegas side.
Agreed.
Where would you find that info at 6:30? Well, you could find it on the live blog. Shameless plug. You kind of teed me up there, but you can go on Twitter and follow a beat list as well if you want to do that yourself or get in our premium Slack. To be honest, that's what I use. I post the lines in there or on the live blog, and then other people help out a lot as well. Shea Theodore, $4,900. Nick Hag.
You tell me, man. You're the Theodore Schmidt whisperer.
Yeah, I have about 10% of him right now. So, but again, like he's getting some ownership too. So,
getting tons of minutes lately too, right?
Yeah, he's a stud. So you can play him even if you're not on Vegas lines. I think you can play Shea Theodore as a one-off.
I think Schmidt at 3,800 is nuts. The pricing for some of these defensemen is so soft right now.
Yeah, man, he's not popping up a lot for me, but I feel like I should get to
maybe
it.
Nuts is an exaggeration, but
No, I mean, I think you're
Good
fine
price.
getting to some Nate Schmidt at 3,800. He's going to eat up some minutes. Maybe you get there with the block shot bonus, and it's not like he doesn't contribute offensively at times too.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you mentioned Krug and McAvoy already. We kind of talked over them. There's really no one else on the Bruins side, not even the GOAT, Matt Grzelcyk, that I really want to be playing.
Seth's got 100% tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to the Islanders and the Rangers. 2.9 implied total for the Islanders, 3.1 for the Rangers. Thomas Greiss expected to go for the Islanders. Alexander Georgiev for the Rangers. And any changes here?
Nothing on the Rangers side, but it does look like last game, Vots posted this. He's expecting Brendan Lemieux to switch spots with Buchnevich. They kind of swapped last game, so I don't know if they're going to start out like that or if they're. But there's that danger that Buchnevich is not going to be on that top line. So if you're rostering Rangers one, it might be might be a pretty good scenario to leave one of those guys off there. And I don't know if the Islanders skated this morning, but it looks like all their lines are the same. So.
Yeah, good call on the Buchnevich thing. That's one that I will be like. I'm gonna crunch a bunch of times and get everything prepared in case disaster strikes. Like I think everyone should, if you're running a bunch of lineups, like have your dummy lineups and have your dummy crunch in something that you're comfortable with. But I'm fully prepared to kind of blow everything up if we see some changes on this line. Not that like I think you have to play Lemieux if he's up there. I'd rather have Buchnevich up there, but I'd also just in general rather have the late news. Because I think we've gotten pretty good at reacting to it. So I want to see these new lines. I want to get these new combos if they're ones that I'm comfortable with. So, yeah, Lemieux probably doesn't make that line much better, but I think it's going to be a pretty decent 5-on-5 spot for Zibanejad and Kreider and whoever they go with, whether it's Buchnevich or Lemieux. I think they're going to see the most time against Barzal, Lee, and Eberle. Not the optimal matchup, definitely the better offensive line when you're talking about the top six for the Islanders, but, giving enough defensively that I'm pretty comfortable rolling out this is a Zibanejad line. That's actually probably going to be a top 3 or 4 exposed line for me on both sites. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some Rangers 1, and then I'm pretty surprised at the low ownership we're seeing on the other side as well, the Barzal line. Were you surprised to see that at all?
Yeah, I hadn't actually looked at it yet. I was just checking that out. Is it pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, lower. Like I would have figured, just looking at this slate, that Islanders 1 would be the most popular filler stack, and I guess maybe they're priced out of filler stack. Like they're not necessarily a filler stack because they're a little bit expensive, but they're not expensive enough for me. And the Rangers defense is Swiss cheese. So that's my favorite line by far. Like the Nelson line has struggled with that trio so far. There's a clear defenseman you can play with them in Tays. I think you could probably be fine playing Pulak with them as well. I think they'll overlap some. They'll see some ice time together as well. But yeah, really, really love Islanders 1 here as well. This is probably my favorite game overall because I think
yeah, and like I think with good reason, right? Both of these teams, Rangers are worst in high danger chances against and scoring chances against as a team. Islanders third worst, I think, in scoring chances against, and Rangers far and away dead last in expected goals against per 60. So good game stack opportunities here, and I like the Islanders side of this one for sure if the ownership's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, even if the ownership is like 1.5 times what we have on this line, I'm still comfortable playing it. I think I'm still over the field on them.
That's crazy low ownership.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just I guess the ownership has to go somewhere, right? So maybe we're overshooting Boston 1 a little bit, but I don't really think we are. Like people love playing Boston 1, and if they've got a 3+ total, everyone just fires them up, and for good reason. But when they're still one of the most expensive lines in the slate, and there's not a ton of quality filler options, and you also have to think about you're going to be funneled into the same lineup construction as everyone else that stacks Boston 1. Like a line like Islanders 1 gives you so much more room to breathe, like so many more possibilities with the rest of your lineup. You can power play stack it and mix in Brock Nelson. I will be doing some of that, and then I'm definitely going to be doing some Rangers power play stacks as well, like including Panarin with Zibanejad and Kreider, including Zibanejad with Strowman Panarin. And I usually like to keep at least two guys on the same even strength line when I do that. So a team like the Rangers with two guys in the top power play on each of their two top lines, um, that's kind of a dream for me. I've been doing a lot more power play stacks lately.
Did you have Tony D the last time these guys went off?
I did, yeah. So I actually had him in the qualifier, and I think I got
Oh,
second that night. Once
oh
again,
man,
yeah, I've
so
gotten like
close.
three straight second or top threes in the qualifier, which has been
I
pretty
like that.
tilting.
I
But
like that stack, man. That guy can just go ham out of nowhere.
yeah, so there you go. You got another defenseman that is a pretty clear pairing. He's been playing a lot of the top power play units. He's been producing. I also kind of like Pulak on the other side. I think Truba is also fine as just a pure pivot off of Tony D, kind of a pay up to be contrarian defenseman that's going to play a lot of minutes with both of the top two lines.
Right.
Anything else in this game you want to mention? Like any third lines? You like Islanders 4, one of your favorite lines here?
I don't like it with Komarov on it though. I want the old like what is it, Martin Clutterbuck Zizekas. That's the line.
Martin Clutterbuck Sezikis. Oh yeah, no Cal Clutterbuck. I forgot about him. I
I don't
don't
know.
normally play Islanders 4, but
No, I do, man. It's like it's been successful, and especially with like Boston one, just because it's always priced up. But because they're not a traditional fourth line. I think like Islanders three, like Dow Cole's kind of playing a little bit better lately. I think he has like averaging a half point a game over his last couple weeks, so that's something. I think those are fine low owned filler stacks, and not getting anything beyond. Do you like Rangers three at all?
Edel, Kako, Howden. I mean, I like the idea of that. I didn't look at them specifically, so I guess I'm not that excited to play them. But I think off the top of my head, they have really bad numbers and some
Yeah.
extended time together. At least Edel and Kako. I don't
Okay.
know if Howden has played with them a lot, but yeah,
Howden
not
bare min, Kako 34.
yeah. So dirt cheap, right? So this would
Yeah.
like I would be more inclined to play them if this were a bigger slate and Boston was priced at 24K, where you just
Yeah.
needed a punt line and you don't necessarily care about the numbers as much. Like I don't care that much with third lines because I think there are some good third line spots at times, but this isn't really one I'm going out of my way to play.
Agreed.
All right, let's go to the Winnipeg Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes. This is going to play more like a turbo slate because we've got 3 7 Eastern games, 7:30 Eastern, and then an 8:30 Eastern. So no real late
Gonna be
swap
over.
possibilities. Yeah, exactly. You should know where you stand by time these 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern games are close to being over. Jets, Hurricanes, 2.6 implied total for the Jets, 3.4 for the Hurricanes. Connor Hellebuck and James Reimer, question mark. Peter Mrazek. Do you know who's going for Carolina? I haven't seen much on that all day.
No, haven't. They didn't skate this morning, so that's why we don't know.
I'm
So we probably won't find out until before game time. And then, yeah, on the Jets side, we've got new lines here. Looks like Roslovic is back up on the second line with Wheeler and Ehlers, and then Andrew Kopp's going to drop down to that third line, play with Matthew Perreault, Mason Appleton. So yeah, like I think the D is pretty much the same. Kulikov, kind of close to the bare min, top pairing. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so we've got these new old Winnipeg lines. Scheifele, Connor, and Line have played a ton of time together this season, as have Wheeler, Ehlers, and Roslovic. So we kind of know. I was excited to see that because we kind of know what we're getting out of these lines. At least over the course of a season, 1 game sample, it's hard to predict, but that's what we're trying to do, right? So at least for matchups, I think it's pretty clear we're going to see Stahl, Svechnikov, and Niederreiter against Scheifele, Connor, and Line. And while it's good that we can at least project that that's going to be a matchup that happens a lot tonight, I'd almost rather see the Aho, Teravainen, and Fogle line go against them because of how bad Winnipeg 1 is defensively. So yeah, I think Svechnikov's probably my favorite one-off on the Carolina side, and I think he's an integral part of power play stacking. Like I love going Aho, Teravainen, and Svechnikov tonight with Jacob Slavin, and we'll talk about him in a bit. I know Cliffy's on him. I'm sure you're on him as well. Just getting a minutes bump without Dougie Hamilton. I think you can stack up Carolina 1, but I really like the second line if I'm full stacking. I know Fogle stinks. $3,800 for him. But
I thought he was good back in the day. Like I thought he was like the analytics darling last season.
was it? I mean, the lines have success wherever he goes, and it's not like they don't have success when he gets taken off of lines or anything. It's not like Stahl's going to struggle without him from a Corsi perspective. But yeah, I am playing a bunch of full Carolina 2 stacks, but he'll be the guy that gets left off. If I have to leave one of these guys off, I'm doing 2-mans, or if I'm doing power play stacks, like I said, it's going to be either Haula or Svechnikov that get with those other 2 guys. So
Slavin surprisingly low owned ownership or low owned tonight, which is great.
yeah, I mean,
like not like under 10%. Sign me up.
oh yeah, I would love that. I'm gonna have a ton more than that, but $4,300. He goes with, you could stack him probably with any of the lines. There's a power play 1 link on all 3 of the top lines for Carolina. He played 26 plus minutes last game, in the first game without Dougie. So you would expect him to get that kind of workload, top power play, $4,300 against a Winnipeg team that really struggles defensively, really struggles on the penalty kill. They don't take a lot of penalties, but when they do, they're really bad at killing them off. $4,300 for him, I think, is an absolute steal. So he seems pretty obvious to me. I wonder if he comes up in the ownership projections.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got higher. But the other guy I like, and I think you're probably on him too, and I'm surprised he's like super low owned, 3%, is Brett Pesce, who's getting 25 minutes a game now. That's just way too cheap for him.
Yeah,
and,
I thought his minutes weren't great. Oh no,
25
they
a game
are.
the last 3.
Yeah, okay, they are. So I messed something up. I need to give him a thumbs up, or I need to go look at him and see what we actually have him projected for, because he wasn't coming up a ton for me. Because like if you look on FC, average time on ice is 22 minutes. Like I think you're probably good giving him a thumbs up if you have him projected for that, because
For sure. Like I'm just going to play him over McAvoy tonight and take the 8 times less ownership.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's a better call. Just non-elite defenseman. I would rather just have the lower owned guy in a similar situation, higher implied total. Like he could easily run into an assist or 2 or block a few shots.
Exactly. Can you talk me off Carolina 3 or 4?
I can't talk you off 3. I mean, I could try to talk you off 3. I thought their numbers were way better. I looked at them today, just to kind of refresh my memory on them. They're not great, but
they were for a while, I think, and they've kind of gone downhill, right?
Yeah, but like if they play Winnipeg all the time, I think their numbers would be better. So this is a really good spot. I think probably my favorite third line, I want to say.
It's the favorite third line every night. It's the best. I don't know why. I'm just like I love this line.
Yeah, they're my favorite third line. I especially like Haula. He's on the top power play. Yeah. But I think they're in play as a full stack too. There's your Boston 1 pairing. The problem with that is you can fit him with Boston 1 and Slavin, and then you're probably a 1v1 versus everyone else that plays that same combo. So I'm actually trying to avoid playing them with Slavin and Boston 1. Like it's probably either one or the other. What about the Winnipeg side here? I want to hear your thoughts actually. What do you think about Winnipeg? Are you getting them?
I don't know. Like I got a fair amount of the Scheifele line, so the pricing is still pretty reasonable. Scheifele at like 5,700 on DraftKings, and these guys aren't hitting 7K, so I think it's the second most expensive line on the night. And then like ownership wise, just let me look it up here, because I think that's kind of going to dictate where I end up.
They're higher than what I expected.
Yeah, so I mean 10%, that's not bad. I've got no problem going there tonight. It's not going to be one of like my core plays, but I'm going to have some shares, probably get like at weight or slightly underweight.
Yeah, right now I'm overweight, and I don't feel comfortable about it just because of how well Stahl and Svechnikov have played together. I don't think that's going to drop off that much with Niederreiter there instead of Foegele defensively, and I think they're just going to be stuck to them like glue all night. And I don't think it's a very good 5-on-5 spot for a line that's already not good at, or not great at 5-on-5. Like the power play is huge for them. But Carolina they have the most time shorthanded in the NHL this season. So kind of trying to balance two things. Like and it's not like you can just power play stack them and be different, because those are probably the three guys you want on the power play. Or like instead of Scheifele, maybe you go with Wheeler, Line and Connor or something like that if you're just going for a power play stack. So I'll play around with stuff like that, but I'm nervous about playing a lot of Winnipeg 1 tonight. I'm probably going to end up just limiting my exposure and maybe getting to like half of where we have on the field, just because of how bad of a 5-on-5 spot I think it is.
Yeah.
And then the
Fair.
second line, Wheeler, Ehlers, and Roslovic, I'm just not as interested in. You only get one guy on the top power play, and I don't think they're going to have
terrible
a cake
numbers
matchup either.
together too, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. So they're not going to have a cake matchup either against Aho, Teravainen, and then the Hollow line. They're going to see some of them, I'm sure, as well. So kind of, I don't know, tentatively out on Winnipeg tonight, or at least going to be below the field. Like, the problem I have is like 2.6 implied total. I thought that would scare some people away. I'd probably be in on them if they were going to be like 5 or 6% owned, or at least be more comfortable playing 10% of them. But playing 10% of a line that I don't think is in an optimal spot, that's going to be 10% owned, I feel dumb for doing that, and even in 150 lineups. So just going to try to get really weird with the little bit of Winnipeg 1 that I do play. Because I think more often than not, Carolina, if they can stay out of the penalty box, I think they kind of have their way here. Any other defensemen we want to talk about? Talked about kind of every line in this game.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Just Pesci and Slavin for me. I guess like Edmonton's probably not the worst punt in the world, but I'm not going to. I mean, when there's so many good bargains in the low threes, you might as well just stick to those, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree on Edmondson, and then Pesci.
One more for me. I don't know if you touched on it, but like Carolina 4 is talented and all at the bare min. The only problem is you don't have defensemen to pay up for in this slate.
I wonder if they're going to put Williams on the power play at some point, at least secondary time. I'm assuming
like those
that's
are
going to
all.
happen.
I'm just waiting for the next slate, the next big slate that they're on at bare min. I think fire them up.
They are bare min. I mean,
because like there's no one to pay for. You pretty much if they're rostered, they're going to be rostered in Boston 1 stacks, and then you still have cash left over. So you're pretty much left doing a 3-2-1.
Yeah, that would be the problem. I don't really have much interest in that tonight, to be honest, but
all right.
I get it.
I'll win all the money then.
Fair enough. You can have your fourth lines. I'll play good players.
I don't know if you're gonna play good players, eh?
3.2 implied total for the Penguins, 2.9 for the Flyers. Tristan Jarry and Brian Elliott are your goalies. I think we've had mostly the same lines for the Flyers, but if you want to recap, feel free.
Yeah, Michael Raffle, I think, is out tonight. I don't know if he left last game or what, but Joel Farabee moves up from the 4th line. And someone named German Rubtsov is on the 4th line. I don't know anything about him. And then on the Pittsburgh side, I think Simone left last game early, and Galchenyuk got promoted to the top line. So it looks like he's good to go for tonight, and I would expect him to just return to that normal spot.
Yeah, I really like Pittsburgh here again. I'm usually on the home teams, or at least I find a reason to get to a home team, whether it be a match or just a low ownership spot. People have liked targeting against Pittsburgh this season. I don't really understand why. They've been really good defensively despite all these injuries. They're getting healthier. They've got 2 really good-looking lines based on how good Malkin and Rust have been playing together. Put McCann on that line with no Cahoon. And then Crosby, Hornquist, and Simone also, they don't have a big sample together, but Crosby and Simone have been really solid since playing together going back to last season. I don't think that's going to get any worse playing with Hornquist either. I also like that they put Hornquist on the Crosby line, because now I think we're going to get a pretty clear match here. Couturier, Voracek, and Farabee, I think, are going to see the most time against Crosby. You go strength against strength. And then that leaves Giroux, Van Riemsdyk, and Konechny against the Malkin, McCann, Russ line. And I looked at the Giroux, JVR, Konechny numbers from last season, and they're really bad defensively. So Malkin, Rust, once again, I really love them. I would not be mad at all if they were my top owned stack for tonight.
Wow.
Yeah, I really, really love the 5-on-5 spot, and I like I like the Pittsburgh power play spot. I wouldn't say I love it just because Philly doesn't take that many penalties where, like, you're expecting to get 4 opportunities or something like that. I think you're probably looking at like 2 or 3. So it mitigates the power play stack a little bit. Plus, it's really expensive to add in Crosby to Malkin and Rust. So you probably go Malkin, Rust, and Hornquist for the most part, especially if you're using an optimizer. What do you think about that? Do you disagree?
I don't know. What? No, I just I kind of thought that they were sort of priced up. Like they're kind of experiencing this residual price up from when Crosby was gone, and they were just getting so much run. But the minutes are still there, right? And yeah, I don't know. I just I'm not excited about playing Malkin and Rust and at that price point. But
what do they have to do? What do they have to do for you to get excited? I mean, they just go off every other slate. Like,
it's true. Small sample size though. No,
dude. They since Crosby went out, so he was out for like 6 weeks. They were just awesome. Like not every single game, but they were at least solid basically every single game. It's not like they're going to see a huge downtick in minutes. Maybe they're a little bit overpriced. And I bet you're going to get them lower owned in I think we might even be overshooting their ownership right now. I think
they're not flying under the radar according to our projections.
Right, but now you have Crosby and Hornquist together. I think that's going to be a really attractive line for a lot of people. But for me, it's clearly Malkin Rust based on what I think the matchups are going to be here.
I'm just going to take Brian Elliott and call it a day.
We don't really talk about goalies on the show that much, but we should probably mention them for the newer audience. At least, some of the guys we expect to have the most of. So I'll run through mine at the end.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
But yeah, man, I'm seeing some ownership for this Giroux, Van Riemsdyk, Konechny line. I think they're going to have their hands full against Malkin and Rust. So, I don't think I'm going to be over on either of the Philly top 2 lines, and I think there's a pretty good chance there's a really good chance I'm over on the Malkin line, and then I will probably be over on the Crosby line as well, even though it's a really tough 5-on-5 spot. You still get Crosby and Hornquist on the top power play, and I would even play Simone with them just based on how good they have been together. So, yeah, man.
Have you you don't Philly too? Like, didn't they go off a couple times? Or you so you're thinking Giroux matches up against Malkin and Couturier against Crosby?
Yeah. And I could be wrong on that. If I'm completely misreading that, then that's gonna probably cost me more often than not. I mean, I guess I could get lucky there, but it's Couturier against Crosby. I think that's a pretty tough spot for both sides, and then clear advantage for Malkin against the Giroux line for me. And then if I'm going to a third line, it's probably the Pittsburgh side as well. Bluger, Aston Reese, and Tanev, but you're getting super punty. That's probably my favorite, sub 10K line tonight.
Yeah, they led the team in correlated ice time last time out, I think so.
Yeah. Simone usually on Sid's wing. Yep, we've seen this a bunch of times. Now you're just replacing Gensel with Hornquist, essentially. Letang, $6,100. Are you getting to a lot of him? Marino.
I mean, just by default, there aren't a lot of pay up spots for D tonight. So I'm sure I'll have some shares. He's our highest projected defenseman, reasonably priced.
Yeah. So on a normal slate, I probably would be playing some Letang, but I wouldn't be he wouldn't be my highest exposed player. I think right now he would be my highest exposed player. If the slate started right after the show, good peripherals, top power play, clear role on the team. He's probably going to play 25 minutes. So he's just the best of a kind of meh bunch of top defensemen tonight. I can't really make a case for playing Provorov very much or Niskanen. I'm fine punting with Sanheim at $2,900, but don't think I'll have a lot on the Philly side for defensemen. Should we go to the last game of the night?
Let's do it.
Actually, before we do that, we've got a bunch of people in here. If you guys could drop us a like, that would be very much appreciated. Helps keep the lights on, as Chris Baggs says. We have a giveaway going on. guess the player that's going to score the most fantasy points on tonight's NHL slate. Very simple. All you got to do, retweet, like, and then reply with that prompt. And you have a chance to win a free Osmo Plus NHL Season Pass, $280 value. Just have to follow the accounts and then follow these listed accounts, Osmo_com, Osmo NHL, retweet, like, reply. Super simple. And I will post this once at the end of the show as well. Can't get enough responses to that. So just scroll through, see who's been guessed, maybe go a different direction, or take someone that you think is just the best spot. I don't think people utilize goalies enough in those. Yeah, just because of the DK bonus. I think like some of these goalies have like Hellebuck. We'll talk about
Yarrow-Halak maybe.
I think, man, like, okay, so Leonard, a guy who gives a bunch of shots.
Leonard, yeah.
Like when he's locked in, like he's a candidate for a 40 save, 1 goal allowed type of game. There's Hellebuck.
Yeah, there's your play right there.
Georgiev. I saw a couple of people guess Georgiev, but yeah, there's definitely some chances to get weird and also make good guess. You're projecting outlier performances, right? It's going to be difficult regardless, but on a 5-game slate, it makes sense to get a little bit weird. So fill that out. No reason not to at least give it a stab and try to win that Osmo NHL Season Pass. Panthers, Blackhawks, 3.1 applied total for the Panthers, 3.3 for the Blackhawks, Sergei Bobrovsky, and Robin Lehner. Lehner is confirmed. Bobrovsky went last night against the Wild, got a win. I don't know if it's going to be Bobrovsky, but we'll see. This is their last game before the All-Star break because they can't.
It could be, yeah. They're hot. Like what have they won 5 straight or something right now?
I think they've been pretty hot. But either way, you'll know this. And what I would do is put in Bobrovsky and then swap down. I think Montembeault is a little bit cheaper, so you could always swap down on DK.
I'm saying Bobrovsky goes, but
who's saying that?
I'm saying it.
I think there's a pretty good chance, just because they're going to have a long layoff after this.
Yeah, exactly.
Other situations, I would just put in Montembeault, but
yeah.
What do we see in this game? Anything new?
No, nothing. No morning skate from the Panthers here, and don't really see anything on the Chicago side. So
Chicago line's still a disaster per usual. Carpenter, Saad, and Kane, I guess, is usable. Taze Kubelik, nice duo. That's they've actually been a really nice duo recently. Kubelik's been on fire. Taze, he's been lighting it up with points lately. So I guess there's 2 guys on each line, each of the top 2 that are viable. I like to, and I guess the top 3 with Doc and DeBrincat both in the top power play. But I don't think any of these Chicago lines are going to be very good defensively. Offensively, they're probably going to be okay. We've seen Taze and Kubelik be solid together. Kane will carry offense basically wherever he goes. I don't see a clear matchup here, and I'm not super interested in like stacking up Kajula or Carpenter all that often. So it's probably going to be Chicago power play or like a Taze, Kubelik, Kane stack or something like that with Boquist or Gustafsson or Keith. But there's just something on everything Chicago that I don't like, whether it's their lines or the defenseman. There's not a real clear guy to stack because Boquist doesn't really do much. But he's 3K and he's on the top power play, so I think he always gets over-owned based on how good he actually is.
Yeah, like very little correlation. Like Chicago 3 is the only power play correlation. I just haven't been playing the Blackhawks at all lately, and like the Taze line is pretty hot right now. But I mean, that could change in an instant. So I don't know. I like I don't like much on the Blackhawks side here. I'm kind of with you.
What about the Panthers side?
Florida side, I'm just worried about Leonard.
Oh yeah, I mean he's wrecked some real nasty chalk this season.
Yeah.
Like once a week, it feels like Blackhawks are in a terrible spot on the road, and it's like
no goalie worries me more than that guy because he just gets hot out of nowhere. So I mean, I think he's a great GPP flyer in your chalkier lineups because he's not going to get much ownership, and probably going to see a lot of rubber tonight. So
if I'm doing a power play stack He's actually priced up for the first time in like forever. He's been at like 7,200. At
Yeah.
least he's like a respectable 7,800 because he's got as much upside. Like him and Georgiev and Hellebuck, I think, are the clear highest upside goalies tonight. Like if their teams win, you're probably you've got a good chance at the 35 save bonus, and it's not really going to matter how many goals they allowed if they actually do get the win. So kind of weird with this new DK scoring. Still getting used to it with these bonuses and trying to like project guys, but Leonard has had as many upside performances as seemingly any goalie. Panthers side, you do have some clear options on their side. I'm much more interested in stacking their even strength lines, Barkov, Huberdeau, and Dadonov. They're going to be a little bit popular because they're a little bit underpriced. They're my favorite line. I'm not leaving out the Trocheck, Connolly, Achari line. Like they're priced down a little bit. Achari scored, I think, again last night in OT, and they have really good numbers together. So while the power play time isn't great for them, that usually brings their ownership down. And I'll take like lines that are successful at 5-on-5 against a bad defensive team in Chicago. So I like Florida 1 and Florida 2. I'm even getting to some Florida 3. Vetrano and Hoffman, just you would think that's going to spark some offense at some point. And I know they've been solid recently, so I have no problem firing them up again. Like it just worries me because I'm here saying that I like Florida 3.1 implied total. Alex has them at, and then I'm on the other side saying I don't know what to do with Chicago, and they have a 3.3 implied total. So I can't figure out what to do with Chicago. Whether I'm like it'd be easier
Just
if I'm
popping in Kane one-offs, to be honest with you.
right, but like that's what everyone's gonna do. So
Think so?
maybe it's just a power play stack, but like when I'm running power play stacks, unless I'm really like focused on running, let's say 20 Chicago power play stacks, all of them end up as Tays, Kane, and DeBrincat, and then you have zero 5-on-5 correlation unless they randomly get put together. So
just like Chicago 3 seems like probably your best bet in terms of low ownership and power play exposure, but at least you get 2 of 3, right?
yeah, at least you get 2 of 3, but then why not just, I don't think there's a real necessity for Camp at 2,600, so why not pop in Kane instead? I know it's a 5K difference, but that would be something I'd be more likely to do. So
yeah, I think that's totally viable, and that's like the kind of stack I think that we've seen have a lot of success this year too, right? Like where it's a unique power play stack, and it's still got you're abandoning a little bit of correlation, but there's some pretty high upside there, right?
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Or adding Tays, like doing a Tays, Doc, Kubel, DeBrincat stack would be pretty unique. Leaving off Kane.
Yeah, you're
I'm
probably
not gonna do
right.
that. I'm just saying.
No, you're probably right on that. Like, there's got to be a path that I'm either not getting creative enough or just not seeing when I'm like crunching through FC. And I might just need to like just completely X out Chicago and then just leave a set amount of lineups just to run like random broken line stacks with them. So like you said, Tays, Kubelik, Kane, something like that, or Doc DeBrincat, and then one of Tays or Kane or something along those lines, just to get out these dusters that seemingly score recently. Like, I don't know, you could do like Tays with Kane and Saad. That would be another way to attack it. But 5-on-5 stacking here, while the value is going to look good, I think it's going to feel terrible when you're trying to take down a tournament and you've got freaking Drake Caggiula in your lineup or David Kampf. You're like, why did I need to play these guys on a night when it's super soft pricing? So I will probably still have some of that once I ultimately forget what I said on the show. But
also, it looks like DraftKings just forgot that there was no NBA today. Hey, didn't contests are already filled?
Yeah, go play on Yahoo. That's all I can say about that. Always play on Yahoo though. Promo code OSMO is how you get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points over on Yahoo. Aaron Ekblad 4,100, Keith Yandel 4,400. I think quality prices on both of those guys. Matheson was benched last game at 3,100. I'm assuming new day, just clean slate. But who knows? That might be a little bit worrisome at 3,100.
Yeah, I wasn't getting it much. I think there's just other spots I'd rather go to. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, I like Ekblad, and Yandel for what he is. Like, this is the price I'm comfortable playing him at 4,400 in a spot where you've got a pretty good total, especially on the road here. So I'm getting to around 10% Yandel, and that's more than enough for me. What I usually do with him, or I do this with some of these guys, what I usually or sometimes do is make a group. So like if I play Yandel, I have to play one of Barkov, Huberdeau, Dadonov. No matter what lineup construction you're doing, whether you're doing 3-3, 3-2-1, then you're not going to have a one-off Yandel. It feels like he just needs the power plays. He needs the assists in order to be viable most nights, especially playing on the third pairing or when they're going with 7 defensemen with Pysyk. I don't even know what they really do with him. So, yeah, weird game. Hopefully it doesn't matter. Hopefully I'm in a good spot before this game, especially on the Chicago side, and I don't get burned. Anything else you want to add? 1% hat trick? All right, let's do like 3%. It's a 5-game slate. Let's do anyone around 3%. You can think about that, and then I'll go through the free stuff we have. NHL rankings for today. These are free. NHL live blog. If you want to get all your news in one spot, and you don't want to be distracted by Slack or whatever's going on in there. There you go. Live blog. This is a premium tool, as are the rankings. Those will be free for today only. We are presented by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Again, use promo code OSMO to sign up on your first deposit and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. I think that's all we have for free content on the NHL side. And then the NHL giveaway we have going on. Let's see. Let me do a quick refresh here and see how many we've got so far. Only 34 on this tweet. I think there's more on the Osmo NHL Twitter, and 25. So, yeah, I mean, you got a pretty good chance compared to like the NBA ones we do where there's like hundreds and hundreds of entries. We've got only about 60 right now. So, pretty good chance you could pick up a win here, especially if you guess one of those maybe high upside goalies or someone like that. All right, who's your 1% Hattie? 3% Hattie.
I'll take Marchessault.
All right, so he's at just a giveaway.
3.7. Does that count?
Is it? Did we update just now?
I don't know.
Maybe we. All right, let me refresh the page. I got Marchessault at 4.3, but either way, fair enough.
Yeah, we just updated. Damn it! All right.
No, fair enough. We'll do sub 5%.
Sub 5.
That'll actually give me some more options.
Blake Wheeler, Brock. No, you got to take Brock Nelson sub 5.
Drake Kajula's at 5, so there you go.
Okay, you take Kajula. I'll take Nelson then.
You'll take Nelson? All right. Why don't you give me Ryan Strome?
Okay.
I know he's not a big goal scorer, but that's a guy I'm going to have a lot of in that in that ownership range, I should say. So I'll at least be able to root for him. I think I'm going to have a decent amount of Rangers 2, and he is on the top power play as well. So, got any plans for All-Star break? Earl says.
Not much, man. Just working away. But what about you?
Same.
Playing some NBA, I guess.
Last year I was successful not playing any NBA. I got through the whole weekend, didn't play any NBA, didn't play the All-Star slate.
NBA on Yahoo.
It was a nice weekend, but I was definitely by like Friday night I was ready to play. So I think we've got tomorrow. It'll just be me. So if you guys want to come hang out, if you've got some extra money in your accounts after tonight, you want to play a 2-game NHL slate, I will be around and doing the show at 4 Eastern. Nolan will be doing other more important stuff. And then, we'll be into All-Star break and grinding away for the second half of the season.
Go to Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. All right. With that being said, thank you all for joining. If you could hit the like button on the way out, that would be very much appreciated. I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy playing some NHL DFS tonight.